I just turned on the call recording. So we have, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people on right now, and so then we'll record the call so the other docs can listen in later on too as well.
Fantastic. And this is
everybody's, can talk if they need to and respond with you. So I guess I'll make an introduction. This is Paul Dorian from Awesome Dynamics. He is the ultimate SEO Amazon guy. He has helped me for well over a year now with all of my SEO needs, and I got to say it's been getting me like 3 or 4 patients a week just with the SEO that we've done on our website, and so I'm going to let him go from there and tell everybody the rest.
Okay, and Julie, who do we have with us on the line, just so I can have jot their names down here?
Okay, I have to go back and look on here. Just a second. We have Ryan. We have Ryan. We have Greg. We have you. We have Cindy. We have Thea, and we have 2 more. I can't see the other 2's names. So we have viewer 7 and viewer 8. So.
All right. Well, I got the names you gave me written down, and yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. And like Julie said, I'm happy to answer any questions should any come up. I have a lot of great content to present to you, a lot of different ways of thinking about things that maybe you haven't thought about when thinking about SEO. So I'm going to kind of give you an overview of all the things that really matter and why. And hopefully you'll have lots of questions. We can even pull up anybody's particular website if they'd like me to do a website audit or just a live review of their site. I'd be happy to do that as well if we have some time. So before I get started, well, obviously the title of this slide here, or this presentation, is Don't Use Old Online Marketing Techniques, Learn What Really Works in 2017, How to Rank Higher in Google. The reason I put 2017 here is because the landscape is always changing in terms of SEO. And SEO is an umbrella of things that includes social media, as well as ranking on Google, ranking on Bing and Yahoo, and a whole bunch of other things like email marketing, pay-per-click campaigns. There's just so many different things that fall under the umbrella of SEO. And the particular part of it that I specialize in is the organic SEO, meaning showing up in the search results naturally, not in the paid area, not necessarily doing anything with social media, and not necessarily doing any sort of email marketing unless that's part of your long-term strategy and the end goal you want them, you want to build your list or something like that. But the whole idea of the organic SEO that I do is when people search for what you do, you show up naturally in the search results for that in your local area or nationally, depending on what your goals are. And a lot of what I'm going to be covering today specifically outlines how to do that locally, which is so important depending on what services you have to offer. There's nothing more frustrating than seeing your competition show up for searches in your local area for things that you do, but they show up first. And understanding the Google algorithm, the things that really make a difference in how you rank are just so important, and that's exactly what we've helped Julie do. So, Julie, go ahead and advance to the next slide if you would. So that's me, Paul Dorian. I'm the president and owner of my company. I have been in the web design business for over 20 years. I have started this company, Awesome Dynamic, about 6 years ago. That's when I wasn't doing it as a side business anymore. I decided I was going to leave my full-time job as an administrator at a high school, and I decided I was going to expand my business and see if I could make it take off. And today, 6 years later, I'm proud to say I almost have 20 employees, and not only are we doing quite well in the area of SEO and websites to help other folks out, but the SEO that we do has also resulted in my business having a massive expansion because we rank internationally for Amazon Consulting, which is one of the services that we have, which is what we tried to rank for through our SEO techniques. And we literally have between 5 and 10 people either contacting me through the contact form on my website or calling my director of sales every day. And we don't have to go out and, beat the bushes to try and find companies anymore for our Amazon Consulting. They are finding us. So they're searching for the service that we offer, which is Amazon Consulting or Amazon Account Management. We're one of the #1 results that comes up in Google. Our listing is the most attractive listing that come to our website. Our website pages pertaining to this are specifically designed to convert folks from visitors to leads. And then we begin doing business with them. And my sales director is very, very busy just following up, creating estimates and following up with folks that contacted us. So when Julie says 3 or 4 folks a week contact a year from Google, that's fantastic. You could really turn up the volume on the number of people that reach out to you if you start ranking for all sorts of keywords and getting a whole bunch of people to come from you. And it could be a very powerful thing to have constant leads coming in that you're not having to proactively leave your office to go find. So anyhow, Julie, would you mind advancing to the next slide? Just want to kind of cover the basics here. This pie chart, and we'll come back to that in a moment. There's this pie chart by a company named Moz. They're one of the leaders in the SEO industry that has this pie chart with the local ranking factors. And I'm just going to tell you the most important ones that are on there. 15% of the reason why you show up locally is whether or not you have a Google My Business listing correctly set up and optimized. 15% of the reason why you show up in local results is because of whether or not your name, address, and phone number are properly matching your Google My Business. And almost 8.5% is whether or not you have reviews set up on your Google My Business listing. And those 3 things combined for local SEO really add up to about 35%, between 30 and 35%. But a lot of people spend a ton of time doing social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And if you think that those things are going to influence your ability to show up on Google, you're wrong, because it only has a 5% impact in you showing up in search results. Just taking care of getting your Google My Business listing set up, which you can do at gybo.com. That's something you should write down. Gybo.com, which stands for Get Your Business Online, gybo.com. Or, and I can actually, I think, put that in the chat here too, which I will do, so this way you folks can just access that, gybo.com. That's a great place to make sure that you see if you have a listing, and if you do, make sure that you have ownership of it. And then optimize in the world of search engine optimization just means filling it all the way as best as you can. So look at your competitors. Do they have more pictures than you? When Google says, give me at least 3 pictures of the interior of the office, at least 3 of the exterior, 3 pictures of team members, 3 pictures of this, that, and the other thing, make sure you at least do that and go above and beyond. When Google asks you what your hours of operation are, if it's not filled out, fill it in. It's really just that simple in a lot of areas of SEO. You're just optimizing, meaning you're filling it out as best as you can and filling it out all the way to 100%. But that Google My Business, the name, address, and phone number, which we're going to get to with citations later on in this presentation, and getting reviews from your happy patients on your Google listing so you have a really good, solid online reputation, are just so important for ranking locally. And then in addition to that, a 20% reason why you rank on Google is having a great website that talks about each of your individual services on a per-page basis, which we're going to get into as well. Other things that are on this slide, we have set up Google Alerts. I don't know if any of you are aware of this, but if you Google Alerts, you can actually set up alerts to monitor your competition or monitor keywords related to things that you might want to be blogging about, monitor your competition in terms of what they're doing online. And basically, Google Alerts allows you to monitor that, and they'll send you a daily recap or even a weekly recap of the results it found on an automated basis, and just send it right to your inbox. I have lots of clients that we use this for to keep tabs on our competition or just on developments in our industry or my client's industry. So this way we can stay really on top of them and create really great content on our website based on what's changing in the world of your particular industry. Testing your website scores, great place to go to do that. And I'm going to send you a link to that through this chat, gtmetrics.com. This is a site that allows you to measure the speed of your server. If your server is really slow, you need to contact your hosting company and tell them that they need to speed that up, or maybe you need to move to a different hosting company. Google has said very recently that moving into 2017, the speed at which your site loads will become a larger and larger ranking factor. So if your site is slow, and slow means anything over 1 to 3 seconds, that's probably the slowest anything should be. So anything slower than that needs to be addressed. Is going to have a negative impact on how you rank online. And the reason they're doing that is because now we're moving into an age where over 80% of searches are done on mobile devices. Those mobile devices are connected to all sorts of cell phone towers. And although 4G is out there, it's not as fast as what 4G really should be. And there's tons and tons of folks out there using cell phones that are getting slower than 4G speeds. So the faster sites are getting rewarded for being fast because so much of the population is using mobile devices. So it's a very important thing to analyze. Also, this gtmetrics.com website will give you a lot of specific things that you can fix. So if you type that in, GTmetrix, and you see things like it could optimize, you need to optimize these specific images. And these are the sizes that they are on your site. This is the percentage reduction that you could have on a per image basis. You could go back to your web developer and say, hey, fix all these images. This is slowing my site down. It'll tell you all sorts of really nitty-gritty detail on everything you could do to be fixing your website. And that's information that you need to take to your web developer and have them fix. So it's a really great resource to find that information. The Google My Business listing, I talked about that, and that's where you start with Guybo.com to kind of assess your situation. A lot of doctors have a situation where they have a profile for the practice, and they have profiles for the individual practitioners or doctors that work within that practice, which Google does allow. However, the more of those that exist, the more muddled the information online gets, because then you are essentially diluting your ability to rank on Google rather than really strengthening it. So the name, address, and phone number is so important with multiple practitioners that can kind of get or create a diluted situation. One resource that you might want to check out, and I'll go ahead and look for it now and throw it in the resources here, but I have a really good interview that I did with somebody who really specializes in Google My Business, a company called Imprezio Marketing, and the gal that we interviewed is a top Google contributor and actually works hand in hand with Google on a lot of things. She is working for my competition in one way or another, but a lot of interesting stuff on what's happening with the Google My Business today. I specifically asked her a question during this interview about doctors and lawyers and real estate agents and how these duplicate listings can harm your site, which is good to know about. Moving on here, set up Google Analytics. You can't improve what you can't measure, and Google Analytics is a free tool that Google gives you that you can just place this little tracking code on your website, and you can gather super valuable data about what's happening on your website, from where the people are coming from, how often they visit, how much time they spend on each individual page, how many pages do they visit, what order do they visit those pages in. You can get demographic information about these people. And then the whole idea is you use this information to make changes on your website on an ongoing basis. So you should never just, if you do nothing else, just set it up so it begins gathering data. So at some point in the future, you can go back and see what has happened. But ideally, what you're supposed to be doing with the Google Analytics is monitoring it on a regular basis to make sure that you're making active changes. If you have a page on your website that people visit but then leave within 5 seconds on average, there's a problem on that page that needs to be addressed. and you need to go look at the page and compare it to your pages that have a higher number of seconds, and determine what's going to be, what content was presented to the end user, and why it's creating that problem. I also put in here, track your rankings. Rankings really are where everything starts, and you should know where you rank and where your competitors rank. And I'm going to put another link right here in the chat for the company that we use to track rankings. And Julie gets this report every single week from us, brightlocal.com. And they're a company out of the UK. You can subscribe to their service at $35 a month. And you can, I think they even have the service at $15 a month, where you can put in all the keywords you want to track. It'll tell you where you rank in Google, Bing, and Yahoo. And then you can punch in all your competitors in your local area. You can see exactly where they're ranking, and then you can create a plan as to what you want to beat out your competitors on. And Julie and I did that exact thing with the local hospital in our area. We actually beat out the local hospital for, I believe the term was lose weight, just by creating an optimized page about losing weight that was better than the hospitals. And it just created more content, better pictures, use the keyword in the right way more times, and it got her in front of that, in front of the audience searching for that term, in front of the local hospital that seemingly has millions and millions of marketing dollars, but they don't really focus it in a way that really helps on a local basis, which is where smaller businesses really have a great opportunity. Let's see here. The last item here that I wanted to bring up on this slide is ranking, traffic, conversions, leads. And what that really means is if you're not ranking for the service that you offer, so in Julie's case, chiropractic care. She also does massage therapy. She also does a lot of other things as well. She has acupuncture. If she's not ranking for those, no one can see that she even does them when they search on their phone or in Google for something. The reason I bring up Google so much, 86% of this country uses Google over the other search engines. Bing is at 12%, Yahoo is at near 0%. But usually you see a lot of activity happening with Yahoo and Bing before you start seeing it on Google. But you got to rank for the words that are out there that you do, of the services that you do. And once you are ranking for those keywords, you're attaining a top 1, 2, or 3 ranking for that keyword, then you will get traffic coming through to your website, meaning people that are actually visiting your website as a result of them clicking on those ranked links. And then conversion means your site needs to do a really, really good job at compelling the person to want to do business with you. So if they get to the page and your site doesn't do a great job of really explaining what you do in 3 to 5 seconds, that's a problem. I know some of the other chiropractors in Julie's one of Julie's other groups, a lot of them used a default template website from a company called Chiromatrix that has pictures of a family on a beach. And I'm thinking to myself, what does that say about anything about what you folks do? We need to show happy staff greeting you when you walk in, happy doctor working with happy patients, and really tell a story through a slideshow that explains what they do within the first 3 to 5 seconds, which is so important to draw someone in and make them want to engage and read more. And then if you do that well, you will yield leads out of your website, meaning people will use that contact form or call the phone number on your website. And speaking of the phone number, I'd like you all to go and look at your website and see if your phone number is big, bold, and in the upper right-hand corner or left-hand corner. So this way people, if they are ready to do business with you, they can just pick up the phone and call. Because there's nothing more irritating, and I'm sure you've all dealt with this. You can't find the phone number. It's difficult to find. That is really, really aggravating for visitors. So if you're listening to this SEO presentation and you're looking to pull something out of it, it's amazing to me that probably over 60% of websites I look at, the phone number is hard to find. And you want these people to call you to book an appointment so you can make more money. Why make it difficult to find that phone number? Make it real big and obvious. If someone wants to pick up the phone, let them do it. All right, I'm going to pause there to see if we have any questions before I move on to the next slide here.
I think it's been great, Paul. You know, the thing with the hospital, too, that you found for me is that they were keyword stuffing. And do you want to tell them a little bit about what that means and how we were able to deal with that, and that how you still got my listing above, even though they were doing that old SEO method.
Yes, that's a great point, Julie. So that really ties in with the name of this presentation. I run into folks all the time that said, "Oh, I already did SEO." Well, SEO isn't something that you've done once and it never becomes something that needs to change again in the future. Techniques that used to work really great 2 years ago could potentially be things that could get you penalized today. So this one instance that Julie's talking about here is they were stringing a whole bunch of keywords related to losing weight together in multiple places on their page. And today, in end of 2016, going into 2017, you really need to have one page on your website focusing on one keyword. So in the example of chiropractic care, which is one of the services or things that Julie does, she has a specific separate page where the heading says chiropractic care at the top of the page, the title tag behind the scenes says chiropractic care, the first paragraph in the website has the word chiropractic care, the name of the image on the page has the word chiropractic care in the file name, the alternative attributes that goes along with that image that helps visually impaired folks use a screen reader to read the page. It also describes the picture using the word chiropractic care in it. We also use it in the subheading. We use it in all the places that Google currently says it's okay to use, and we're only trying to have that one page focus on that one keyword. And that is so critical to create the perfect situation on a per-page basis. This particular page should have 300 to 600 words on it. And those 300 to 600 words shouldn't look like a novel. It should be broken up with multiple subheadings, bullet points of the benefits of why I should do chiropractic care, the benefits of why I should do it with her versus somebody else. And all those things really contribute to that page ranking really well for those search results, because at the end of the day, what Google's looking for is the best possible page to deliver to its customer, and its customer is us using their search engine. So if Julie does a better job at creating a page all about this particular service than any other of the people in her geographical area, Google will then give her preference on that word because she has the highest quality page regarding that particular key term. And that's where that old adage in SEO that you may or may not know, content is king, is so important. Julie's even working on putting videos together for each of her individual pages on her site. And we're not talking full motion video where she's on camera. We're just taking pictures that tell a story and overlaying some text on those pictures. And then we are going to have a narration track that Julie will record, and a little bit of music track in the background. And Julie, what program did we talk about doing that with?
PowerPoint.
Yes. So it's not even a complicated video software either. And this video should be 60 seconds to 90 seconds. If you think about when you go to a page on the internet and you have the option of reading the text or watching the video, some of you will opt to just watch the video real quick to see what they have to say about themselves, rather than go through the text that's on the page. Plus, Google gives additional preference to pages that have video embedded on them versus ones that do not. And third, those videos on YouTube connected to your Google My Business in the correct way can also take up ranking spots in the search results and push your competitors off the first page. So if you really get the synergy really, really good, you can get a lot of additional benefit out of video, and it doesn't have to be a super complicated thing. Julie, should we move on to the next slide here?
Yep.
All right. So knowing what words to rank for is real important. It's super easy to rank for words that no one searches for. So, and then the other thing is, it sometimes can be extremely hard to rank for words that everybody searches for. So the key is to find words that people search for and then determine how competitive they are so you can figure out where your low-hanging fruit is. So what is a word that I can reasonably rank for that that has a reasonable amount of traffic coming through to your website? So I'll give you my Amazon example. The best word that I could be ranking for for Amazon consulting is actually Amazon SEO. But the problem is for Amazon SEO, it's part of my long-term strategy. It's going to take me probably a year or two to even get near the first page of Google for that key term because there's so many other people ranking for that. So what I decided to do is look at other key terms related to Amazon consulting and SEO, and I found that Amazon seller consulting had a reasonable amount of traffic, about 100 or 200 people searching it per month, but it was not competitive. I mean, it was really easy to get to the first page of Google if I created a page that was really highly optimized, like I described in the last slide. So I got the page up there within a month, and then I started getting all these phone calls immediately because point number 5 here, relevancy, that key term is super relevant. If someone's searching Amazon seller consulting, they're not looking to learn anything about the topic themselves. They have decided that they need to find some sort of consultant. So the intent of the search term is to buy a service, and by strategically picking that word and creating a page around it and getting it up in the search engines has resulted in this windfall of leads that I had coming all the time. So I remember when we were going through the different key terms with Julie for the group of chiropractors that she's with, and we found a lot of words surrounding symptoms that people have in terms of back pain, neck pain. We even looked at folks that are looking for orthotics. But when you type in that term, you have to kind of sit back and think, well, is the intent of this term to find information about this, to watch a video, to just learn about a little bit more, or is the intent behind the term to actually take action and hire a professional? And obviously, category 2 is much more valuable than category 1. So when you take a look at the words you're using on your website and you look at those different words that you're using to describe what you do, a lot of people kind of get caught up in their own business, what they're doing, what they call things. So you got to really take a step back. What do people say when they're searching for someone like me? And which of those terms that they search for are really relevant and have the intent to buy? So that's where you have a lot of valuable information. If you have a contact form on your website, usually there's a field for them to write out what they're looking for. And there's gold in the words that they say. So I remember when I met with my financial planner client, and I asked their top financial planner, what do people say? And immediately he reacted and said, well, in general, people are worried about how much money they need to have before they retire. I said, no. I don't want to know in general what they want or what they say. I want to have copies of every single message that you had come in so we can really scrutinize and pull out the keywords that people are typing in and saying that they need your help with, because there could be some phenomenal gold in there in terms of keywords that we could attempt to rank for by customizing our pages on our website to really fit those particular keywords. So some just different ideas to take a look at. Competition, this is the other thing. If you search for some keywords that you think are really relevant and have a great intent to buy, and you put those keywords into Google and you see some of your competitors ranking for those keywords, go and see what words they're using on their website. There's nothing wrong with that. Just take a look at their site and see what words they're using and really investigate and take some notes, do an in-depth analysis to find out what they're using to show up prominently on Google. And then the last item here, triggering local results. If you're looking to engage new patients locally, take those words that you're typing into Google and see if it gives you the little map with the 3 push pins, or if it's just a list of search results. Because if it's not producing that map with the 3 push pins, Google doesn't feel that that term is really locally relevant. It thinks that it's more of an informational search, not somebody who's looking for local results. Another thing to keep in mind, what you type into the computer is completely different than what you get when you type into your phone. More and more as we move forward, as you would see if you looked at that webinar interview I did last week, more and more Google is customizing the search results based on the exact location of the searcher. So you can get some real different results based on your mobile phone, how it's connected to the internet via Wi-Fi or a cell phone tower, among other things. I'll go ahead and pause there before I move to the next slide to see if anybody has any questions.
You're doing great, Paul.
Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. Citation Basics. Anywhere your name, address, and phone number is online. So this is such an important thing. The name, address, and phone number, as I mentioned before on that pie graph that I didn't bring up here, but it's around 13 or 14% of the reason why you rank on Google is consistency of your name, address, and phone number to your Google listing. And I want to illustrate exactly what I mean. If Julie's firm is called McLaughlin Care, and let's say it's McLaughlin Care Inc. If that's written out on our Google listing as McLaughlin Care, Inc. period, then it needs to be McLaughlin Care, Inc. period on Facebook, on Yelp, on City Search, on her local chamber of commerce listing, on her own website. It needs to be exactly the same. So if I were to take the business name as it's spelled out, printed it on 2 pieces of paper, I put those 2 pieces of paper on top of each other and lined them up and held them up to a light, there will be absolutely no difference between them whatsoever. And that is so important not only for the business name, but also for the address. So if you're located at 123 North Stewart Street, is that 123 N period Stewart ST period? Is it 123 North spelled out Stewart ST period? Is it 123 N without a period Stewart ST without a period? All those are variations. If you were to hold those up to a light with 2 pieces of paper, they would be different. So that needs to be the same for not only the business name, the address, and the phone number. They need to be very, very consistent. And they all need to match the Google My Business listing. I can tell you that Google always abbreviates with no periods. So if you're on a road or a street or a drive or a boulevard, they're going to abbreviate that with no punctuation. Also, north, south, east, west, they're just going to do the S, the N with no period after it. And you need to make sure that you're matching that in every place that exists on your website and anywhere else, on your Facebook page. All places where your name, address, and phone number exists need to match that Google listing exactly. And this is no easy feat to accomplish. In fact, that Bright Local company, they have a service where they help you do that. But they don't do as good of a job as you could do yourself. In fact, I have another webinar where we talk about that with the founder of Bright Local that I think is interesting, and I'll try and pull that up real quick and provide that so this way you can take a look at that one. But there are tools. Bright Local does provide tools for you to find it. And how does all that stuff get out there? Well, you registered your company with the state. When you subscribe to a magazine that comes to your office, that information is getting out there. When you provide your billing statements or to your patients, or your business card, or anything else that gets out there into the wild, so to speak, I did that with air quotes, that's getting information out there about your business into databases that then produce things that end up on the internet. So there's lots of folks have 200 or 300 citations that are just out there, directory listings, that need to be fixed. And fixing them it takes between 15 and 45 minutes a piece to do. We always recommend having someone on your staff do it after they're trained and really stay after it. Even how you register with your utilities can influence how information's proliferating out on the internet. So, create a citation report and evaluate. That's something that Bright Local software can do for you. Another great one that's out there is WhiteSpark, WhiteSpark.ca. I'm going to put that into the chat as well. WhiteSpark.ca. I'm also going to find that interview I did with Miles, who owns Bright Local. I'm going to throw that in the chat here as well, so you can take a look at that. Let's see, claim and optimize the top 10 citations, then the top 50 citations. So like Yelp and Facebook are definitely top citations. Your top 10. There's also your LinkedIn company page. There's a specific way to make one just for your company. It's not really good for anything for social media other than creating a place where your name, address, and phone number is listed on a very prominent website that's trusted by Google. So even local citations are really, really valuable, or things that are very very relevant to your industry. So I know a lot of doctors are members of medical groups in their communities. So if you do have a listing with that medical group, call them, because a lot of times you can't edit that yourself. Call them and say, look, I need the business name to be exactly this. I need the address to be exactly this, and I need you to change it. But those could be super valuable because Google values those websites. They're very well trusted, and it's a citation that maybe your competition doesn't have on a really well trusted website. I think patience and persistence. So this is not an easy process. A lot of our clients pay us to do this because it can be frustrating. Julie's definitely done some herself. Julie, can you kind of speak to your experience on doing some of those citations on your own?
Yeah, so when we started with you, this was the first thing we did is work on these citations, and mine were really messed up because my office is 900 North Shore Drive, and it's spelled out North Shore Drive because in Chicago this is the North Shore, and Google has it as N, like you said, N Shore Drive. And so we had a lot of fixing to do. Some of them I had it spelled out Drive, some of them I had it abbreviated, and so what we did is we made a goal, and I, like I said, Paul helped train my staff, and we made a goal. And in the beginning, we said if we could do 10 a day, that would be awesome. And now we do about 2 a day or 2 a week sometimes when we get crazy busy. And I have like well over 400 citations all over the internet. And that just doing those citations initially, when we were tracking my SEO, it really bumped me up because that was the first and only thing we did in the beginning, and we really saw a difference. And it's time-consuming, and one thing I would say is if you're doing it yourself and you go on these websites and they say you have to pay to do it, don't do it. You know, if you want to hire, a service to do it, that's another thing, but we just went on there and did a few every day, and it's really gotten us quite a bit of, listings in different places that I never even would have thought that doctors could be listed on.
Yes, and there's just so many of them out there, and not only does it help you your top Google listing rank in that little map area that shows up, it also gives your website pages the ability to take up spots underneath that little map pack, and it also allows you to have your individual citations show up in there as well, which takes spaces away from your competition. So in Julie's example, I know there's a few terms for different services that she provides where not only is her Google listing showing up, her homepage is showing up right underneath those local listings, then her Facebook page, then her Yelp page, and all these other pages of citations that exactly match your name, address, and phone number are taking up all those spots underneath the map listings, essentially taking it away from her competition. Her competition's all on the second page for a lot of these different terms because the citations are properly optimized and matching her name, address, and phone number on the Google listing. So it can really not only help you rank, but it can also help you dominate that page and push them off the page so you're getting all the calls. Yeah. Julie, let's go to the next slide here if we could. Why do online reviews matter to a local business? Now, I'm so glad that you folks, I have a webinar, or I have a blog that's from a webinar that I did. Google reviews, your business will die without them. And I'm going to go ahead and put that. You did? Okay, good. Yep. It's such a valuable thing. This is what I did for the review parties, and I did a review party at your location, Julie, and it's really all this great information: how to ask for reviews, what to do when you get a bad review, what to do when you get good ones, how to coach your clients or your patients to leave you 5-star reviews, how to ask them to make it happen. We even have several really cool techniques to make it easy for them to jump through some of the hoops to get the reviews. But on this link that I put in the chat, which Julie also sent out, we talk about all those guidelines in great detail. The fact that you should be shooting for 2 to 3 reviews a month. You just want regularity to it. You just don't want a whole bunch at once and then never again. You can even learn how to get rid of negative reviews that pop up. You can hold a review party, for like a client appreciation type thing. You can trade reviews with with people in your networking groups. You can also, what's really cool about my Amazon page, which isn't a local listing and has nothing to do with Google reviews, you can take testimonials that you've gotten, let's say through email, that people aren't maybe savvy enough to put online, and actually put them on the pages of your website and mark them up with something called schema. And schema is a special markup code that all the search engines really like. And if you put that on there, your individual pages can have a little gold, like 5 gold star thing on them, which can really increase the click-through ratio on your pages if they show up in the search results. And then there's this piece here, knowledge graph versus map versus ad space versus organic. When you look at a search page on Google, usually the first 4 places have that little green ad thing on the left. That means that those are paid search spots. People are paying to be in those spots. Only 30% of people click on those. The map is the area that we've been kind of talking about after. Usually there's 3 people on the map. Ad space, I already talked about. Knowledge graph is that thing that shows up on the right that can show a lot of information on your business. And then organics. These are all the different places reviews can show up at. And the one thing that I really want to stress is it's so important to build a nice wall around your online reputation with happy 5-star customer reviews, rather than letting a malicious competitor or your first upset patient leave a 1-star review. Because if your only review is 1-star review, then everybody else in the world that looks for your business thinks that you're a 1-star average company, and no one is 1-star average. So if you really work at getting your happy clients, happy patients to leave you 5-star reviews, and a lot of them, when you do get that 1-star review, it really only impacts you a little bit in terms of your average. But I'm not going to get into this very much more, because we have some other content to get into. That webinar that Julie sent out and that I have linked in the chat box here is an hour just on this topic, and it's extremely valuable to any small business owner, and it's free to do. It's free to do everything that I talked about in there, and it has a huge impact on your business. The quick story I will tell is that my sign company has somewhere between 80 and 95-star reviews. They landed a multi-million-dollar contract with a corporation in the area that was looking for a sign company. And because he had more reviews, 10 times more reviews than anybody else in the area, the CEO of that corporation called him and said, I got to know the guy that has this many 5-star reviews. And my client closed a contract as a result. So really cool things can happen with having those reviews. It really compels people, even if you're not the number 1 result, to contact you over your competitors, because you just look so much better than their other options. Julie, let's go to the next slide if we could. Okay, metadata. So a lot of people kind of know about metadata. It's basically information about a particular page that's behind the scenes on your website. And that information controls how the link, that blue link, shows up in Google. It also can control how the description of that link shows up in Google. And those things need to be optimized correctly around whatever the focus keyword is on a per-page basis. I brought up Yoast here. If any of you have a WordPress website, WordPress is used by over 60% of the world for websites. And it is one of the easiest platforms to learn and use while still having the ability to be completely customizable for SEO. Julie has a Wix site, and we run into a few roadblocks here and there. It's extremely easy to work with, but there are some issues from time to time that come up, things that we can't do. What's really interesting with this Yoast plugin that goes into WordPress, it'll actually tell you with little green, orange, and red lights if you did whatever the task is right, wrong, or if you're halfway there. And it gives you specific guidance on what to do. So, for example, you heard me earlier say, is your keyword in the first paragraph on your page? It'll actually tell you. Your paragraph is not on the first, or your paragraph does not have the keyword in the first paragraph of the page. Is it in the heading? Is it in the picture? Is it here, there, and the other place? It gives you direct feedback instantly on whether or not you're doing it right or doing it wrong. So it's a really valuable tool to be able to use for those things. Title and description, these are different things that you can embed as part of the metadata that control how you show up on Google, and it's extra opportunities to put your keyword in the right places. I talked about how picking one keyword per page is so very important, rather than just saying, okay, well, I do chiropractic care, so I'm going to put every word that I can think of regarding chiropractic care: chiropractor, best chiropractor, chiropractor in Lake Bluff, top 10 chiropractor, chiropractic for back pain, yada, 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 yada. No, you can't do that. You got to pick one good keyword for that one page and write a whole page around that particular service. That's the way it must be done today. Name, address, and phone number we talked about extensively. And the one thing I wanted to add in here is multi-location businesses with a name, address, and phone number. Each location needs to have a separate phone number and a separate address. Of course, if you have a different location, the address will be separate. But then those individual locations should be linked from Google My Business to specific pages on the website that are customized to that location. Meaning, if Julie had a location in Lake Bluff and another one in Highland Park, she would have a location page on her website that says, hey, here's my Lake Bluff office. Here are the hours of this office. Here's where it's located. Here are the people that work in this particular office. And then on the Google My Business for that particular office, it would link directly to that page on her website rather than to the home page. And same thing with her Highland Park office. A lot of businesses make the mistake of just kind of listing all their locations on one page and just linking all their Google My Businesses to the home page. That doesn't really give anybody great information on what they might be looking for, and Google doesn't give you any additional benefit for doing it that way. If you think about when you're looking for a store on your phone and trying to find the hours, first, it's frustrating if the hours aren't on the on the Google listing, so then you have to click through to go to the website. And if the website just goes to the home page, and then you got to use the store locator to find the location again to find the hours, that's a very frustrating experience. So Google rewards folks that link the location, the Google My Businesses, to the proper location pages on their website. I don't know how many folks in the audience have multiple locations, but that's something that's really important to address. I'll pause there for any additional questions before we go to the next slide.
I know it's a lot of information that you're given, but it is really, really important. It's really helped me a lot, Paul. And I have to say that, going through it one thing at a time, that's what's, what do they say? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And
right.
All these things, when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, my gosh, this is so much. How am I ever going to do this? But now I'm amazed as we're going through this, like, oh, yeah, we got that. And you've made it really easy for us to break it down in just little bites, and the results are showing.
Well, thank you, Julie. And the way we facilitate that, as you know, Julie, is the checklist. So we have a checklist of a few hundred items that need to be done. And the way Julie's engaged with us is a consulting model. And essentially we have a meeting. We take a look at the next item in the checklist. We explain why it's important, and we take a look at how we could do it together, or we give Julie some homework to do, and we tackle things one item at a time. And that checklist is in an order that we feel is going to yield the best return on investment as time moves forward. But Julie, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide here. Here's some other things to think about, and this is where taking a look at a website might be handy at some point, but I want to make sure we get to the end of this. Contact page, look and feel of the site, call to action, event tracking. If everyone should have a contact page. I talked about the phone number being important. Well, that's for people that like to use the phone. Well, for the contact page, some people really like that, and they may rather use the contact page while they're at work when they don't have anybody else. Maybe they can't use the phone then, or they're at work. They're going to fill out the contact form to book an appointment with you. Maybe it's the middle of the night when they can't reach you by phone because they know that you're closed. They want to fill out that contact page. A lot of people have their contact form or their book an appointment form way too long. So If you are asking for too many pieces of information, the more fields that you add to your contact form, the less likely it is someone will fill it out. So if you have a contact form that really doesn't get filled out or submitted very often, and you look at it and you see that you're asking them 15 things to fill out, reduce it to 3. All you need is their name, their email, and their phone number. And if they submit that information to you, then you can aggressively pursue them via the phone or the email address to get all the other information that you wanted. But if they're not filling it out because it's too long, you're just completely missing those leads altogether. If you get the base information, at least you can do something about getting a hold of that person. You know, say you can make, a lot of people say, oh, I made all these fields optional. Well, still, it's intimidating. You go to a form that's really that has a lot of fields. It's intimidating, and people just navigate away from them. You can also look at that analytics data that we talked about to see, do people leave that page right away when they see a really long contact form? Statistically, the answer is yes. You can put an embedded Google map on your site so people know where you're at. Eliminate or replace your outdated CAPTCHA. So you ever see those little things with the funny little letters you have to fill in before you submit a form? There's no need to have that one anymore. They have, if you need one at all, they have the new one by Google called reCAPTCHA, RECAPTCHA. I'm gonna see if I can find that and put it in the chat. reCAPTCHA. That you just check a box and you say, are you human? And it will detect if the person is human or not. So if you have one of the old style, put the new style on. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat here so you can take a look at that. Form is easy to fill out, extra fields for qualifications. So I had somebody come to me the other day that says, oh, I don't want to do SEO because I'm going to have too many people that are not qualified for our services coming to our website all the time. And I said, well, that's when you have the problem where you need to actually make the form a little bit more complicated to fill it out, or ask qualification questions in regard to whether or not they're your target audience. And then you use the form to really filter out, these are the guys I want to work with. These are the guys that are going to get an automated response based on their answers. Then I'm going to refer them to somebody else. Call to action buttons. I see these missing on sites all the time. Up at the top, you have your book an appointment. Maybe you have it subtly at the bottom. You want to hit them over the head with a giant button that says, book an appointment now. We're excited to get going and working with you. So if your call to action isn't really interrupting the flow of your pages, where it really calls that person to, really look past that button because it's so prominent, that's something that you may consider putting on your site to see if you get some more contacts out of it. And event tracking is listed here twice. Basically, you can find out which buttons are working on which pages and measure which ones are working, and then analyze each of the different pages to find out which techniques you're using work better. In the industry, it's called A/B split testing, where you're evaluating what you do on one page versus another to see which one works better with your target audience. All right, Julie, let's head on to the next page. Backlinking, this is another 20% of why you rank on Google. We actually heard a really cool technique recently about backlinking, where you use your own personal network. So you all have insurance agents. You all have, some of you potentially have a landlord. Some of you have your auto insurance guy, or who knows who else in your personal network. If you were to say to them, I'll give you a testimonial, a written testimonial that you can put onto your website, and in exchange, I would love to have just a link coming back to my website. That's a great way to get links in your local area from folks in the community linking back to your website. Google, back in the day when Google started, that was the only way to rank, is by having lots of backlinks with certain words in them. Today, it only makes up a 20% piece of the pie, and you actually have to have a very diverse backlink profile. I'm not going to get into all that right now because we don't have the time for it, but you just want people to link back to you in whatever way they feel is best without getting really specific on any particular word. And if you can get them to do it without reciprocating, because reciprocating a link just makes it not valuable from an SEO standpoint. So it's good to give them something and have them link back to your site as a thank you. So if there's any place that you can do it and it'll stick, that's good. If any of you do any professional speaking on the medical topics that you do, if you can get something from a university with a .edu, that is one of the most powerful backlinks that you can get. So if you can try and connect with the university, have them write a blog about how you did some speaking engagement for some college students, and they are able to, you can even write the article for them so that they can just put it on the site and it links back to your website. That could be extremely powerful, something that you can get that maybe your competitors don't. Julie, let's move on to the next slide. Rich content, product pages, and blogging. So everybody's heard of blogging. Basically, the concept is whether it's your blog or your product or service pages, it's all about rich content. Are you providing something valuable that people want to read? And is that thing boring to read, or is it exciting? Is it engaging? So 300 to 600 words. We're going to visually break up the content. One product for each product or service. Create 1 or 2 videos per service or product page. Add rich media and pictures and other rich media ideas are for creative content. Make it more engaging than anybody else in your area. If you have a page about chiropractic care like Julie has, is her chiropractic page much more engaging, exciting, compelling than all the other people in her local area for the same thing? And does it really draw me in? Does it really explain? Is it informative? A lot of people just blog to blog, and yes, Google does reward sites that have new content that's fresh on a regular basis, but you want to have some focus around it, around particular keywords that you want to rank for. Julie, let's head on to the last page. I think we're close to the end here. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, there's my little promo piece, my pitch. I have something coming up, and you can also engage with us in a regular way, like Julie is, where we just sign up for one of our programs where we help you on a monthly basis. But I have a special 6-week course that I put together starting in January. It's 90 minutes for each of the different topics, of the 6 topics. I think it's like every Wednesday or Thursday from 12:30 to or 12 to 1:30 Central. It's question and answer segment on every course. Basically, it covers everything that we talked about today, but in much, much greater detail. It starts Wednesday, January 19th. All the courses are recorded and delivered to you via video, and there's tons of resources used by experts. You saw that during this presentation, I provide a whole bunch of different links that we use for different things that we do. As we dive into these topics in even more detail, I would be providing more for that. Julie, if you wouldn't mind clicking the mouse, we got some animations here. Priced at $9.99, but because you're part of the Vital Health Protocols group, if you use the discount called VHP, you get a $400 discount, bring it down to $5.99. And Julie, another click of the mouse. You can, if you're interested in this particular course that we have set up, you can visit awesomedynamic.com/event, EVENT, and put in that discount code if that's something you're interested in. And I'll go ahead and put that in the chat right here, awesomedynamic.com/event. And if you wouldn't mind, Julie, go to the next page here. If you're interested in just working with us through one of our programs, rather than just learning all the stuff through a course, of course, we're not going to get through everything in the course. So there's lots and lots of stuff to do, but we have full service programs where we take care of everything for you. We also have consulting programs where that's what Julie does, where we essentially schedule meetings and train you how to do it and send you videos on each of the different trainings. And then you're able to take that and affect change for yourself. And we also have a model where it's on demand, where you buy a block of hours and you can use them whenever you need. So all those different models are things that we do with our SEO. If you could, contact Terry. He's my director of sales. You see him right underneath me. Terry at awesomedynamic.com. And you can call us at 800-238-1811. And at this point in time, I'd love to entertain any questions on any of the topics that we have, if Julie thinks we have time for that.
Oh, that'd be great. If anybody has any questions, feel free to go away. I know I ask Paul questions like every single week, so you guys ask him a bunch. Well, if no one has any questions, if you have like private questions you want, you can always email him. Or if you want to know a little bit more about what I've been doing with him, you guys can also email me or call me as well. And Paul, I can't thank you enough for doing this with us today. And the information is really, really beneficial. And it's a great way to drive people into the practice and to get the practice known. I always think about, a restaurant. They could have a brick and mortar restaurant, but if they're not on the internet and you're in your car and you say, I want to go to, a Mexican restaurant, and you Google it, you could be driving right by it, and if it's not on your phone in that search, it doesn't exist. And so I think that's, one of the things that we all have brick and mortar practices, and we need to have a practice online as well.
Very good, Julie. I think the Google statistic is 38% of businesses in the United States have their Google listing properly set up and optimized, which, it's a huge number of folks that don't. And that's something that, please go to guybo.com today. Check out your listing. Go get some reviews. Use some of these different things. Try using some of these resources on your own. You can get a lot of value, a lot of traction for yourself in the search results. That you can take just away from watching this. I'm always about delivering value and meaningful information. And if you take some of the stuff that I've talked about today and implement even part of it, you'll see some benefit from doing so.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a great day. And I will put the recording up on our portal as well, and I'll email it out to everybody. So thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much, Julie, for the opportunity to speak to everyone. And thank you, everyone, for having me. I appreciate your time, and I hope you affect change for yourself with some of the things that we talked about today.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.